This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone. I hope everybody is doing well. Today we're going to briefly talk about the Payroll Protection Program loan forgiveness process for small businesses and self-employed individuals. So as you may already know, the SBA, the U.S. Treasury came out with a new simplified form called the 3508S for businesses that received PPP loan of less than $50,000. So this is actually great news because that simplifies the loan forgiveness process for a lot of small businesses. So let's go through this form real quick and we'll discuss who is eligible for this and what needs to happen to get that application done. So, all right, so to be eligible for the 3508S, your loan amount needs to be less than 50,000. Now, keep in mind, this form does not apply to individuals that got loans through Schedule Cs, like such as self-employed individuals and contractors. So for you guys, there's a different form which is called the 3508EZ, which we'll go over after the 3508S. So to be eligible for the 3508S, your loan amount needs to be less than 50,000. And the best part about this new application is that it does not penalize you for not maintaining your full-time employee headcount prior to the pre-pandemic period. So as you may already remember, one of the main criteria of PPP loans was to bring your headcount, employee headcount, back to pre-pandemic period. So with this, because the SBA is saying that this loan is de minimis, they are not going to penalize you for not maintaining the employee headcount, and also they're not going to penalize you for reducing your employees headcount by more than 25%. So this is huge because a lot of companies were having difficulty bringing their employees back, and also a lot of these companies were having difficulty just maintaining these wages because they had no sales. So this is very important. So let's see how this form looks. So this is the 35. Sorry, this is not it. So this is the 3508S. This is very simple. It's basically telling you to self-certify and basically like making sure that it's the loan forgiveness part of it is simple for you guys, but at the same time you want to make sure that you are maintaining all the documents. So we'll go over that in a bit. So the way you would fill this form out is that you would enter your business name, business address, EIN, your business phone, primary contact, and email address. The SBA loan number and the lender PPP loan number you should already have available on the portal, or if not, you could find it on your closing documents. Here it would be the PPP loan amount, and here it would be your PPP loan disbursement date. So we'll use May 1st as the disbursement date. So in this section, you would indicate how many employees you had during the time of the loan application. And in this section, you would indicate how many employees you had during the time of your loan forgiveness application. In this section, you would indicate how much EIDL loan advance you received. So if you had 5 employees, you should have received $5,000 in EIDL loan advance. Now, make sure whether you actually received the EIDL loan advance or not, because a lot of you did not and some of you did. So this is very important. And the reason they're asking you for the EIDL loan advance is because once all of this loan forgiveness is calculated, the loan advance amount is going to be added back, and you'll need to pay that back. You'll need to pay that back over the course of 5 years. So in this section, you would indicate your EIDL loan application number. Just to explain this a little bit further, let's say your loan forgiveness amount is $10,000. Let's say your loan forgiveness, they're going to forgive the whole $10,000 that you received. Since you received $5,000 in EIDL grant, the $5,000 will then need to be paid back over 5 years. So this, now real quick, let's go back and discuss what the PPP loan should be used on so that your loan forgiveness amount is actually accurate. So there's 2 things. If you received your loan prior to June 5th, you had 2 options. You have 2 options. You could either use the whole PPP money over 8 weeks, or you could choose to use it over 24 weeks. And whatever period you use, you would need to split the money 60 and 40. 60% towards payroll and 40% towards your business operating expense. So the 60% of payroll counts towards health insurance and retirement benefits that you're paying for your employees as well. And the 40% is your rent, mortgage interest, and utilities, including transportation. Now, if one thing I want to add, if you received an EIDL loan, keep in mind the EIDL money and the PPP money cannot be used for the same thing. So what that means is, if you received an EIDL loan, this 40%, you should probably still use it towards the payroll, just so that you could solidify your loan forgiveness amount. Now, if you received your loan after June 5th, you have 24 weeks to use the money towards it. Again, it's still the 60-40 split on payroll and business operating expense. Now, let's go back to this form. So this sections here, it's all of this is basically self-certification. What this is telling you, what you're telling the SBA is that you have abided by the rules, and all of this applies to you where you use the money towards payroll and business expense as you know, on a 60-40 split or whatever it is, and you are not lying about it. Okay, so this is very important. Although you don't have to send them the documents, please make sure you keep documentation of all of the payroll expenses, like your 941s, your state filings, and all the operating expense, such as your lease agreements, the checks that you sent out. All of these documents should be retained somewhere, because the lender might ask for it, or at a later time, the SBA might select you for an audit and they will ask for it at that time. So keep that in mind. And my recommendation is apply for the loan forgiveness as soon as possible, as soon as you become eligible. Another thing I want to add, in this section, you'll see it says expiration date 10/31/2020. This is actually incorrect. The loan application, you are able to apply even within the 5 years, because your loan would be a 5-year loan. But you should apply within 10 months of the last day of your covered period. What that means is, if you received your loan on, let's say let's say you received the loan on May 1st, and if you use the 8-week period, that means your last date of that covered period is June 26th. That means by June 26th, you should have used up all the money. Apply for your loan within 10 months from the date of June 26th. So this is very important. So whatever day you use, or whatever period you use, whether if it's 8 weeks or 24 weeks, the last 10 months from the last day is where you want to apply, because if you go any further than that, then your loan payable becomes due on a monthly basis. Although after the loan forgiveness is done, you will get that money back. But if you don't want to make any payment and just get this loan forgiveness done smoothly, apply for it within 10 months of the last date of the cover period. And again, you could apply as soon as possible as well, as soon as you use up the money, or as soon as your 8-week period or 24-week period ends. Again, once you self-certify all of this, you would sign and you would upload it to your portal. And if your lender is asking you for any more documentation, then you send it to them as well. So this is the 3508S. Again, this is for businesses who received loan of less than, the businesses with employees who received loan of less than $50,000. So, all right, so now next page is just informational. If you want to fill this out, you can. You are not required to. All right, so let's go back to the 3508EZ. So this is the form you would fill out for loan forgiveness, or for those of you who are self-employed or contractors who filed Schedule C and provided Schedule C for the loan forgiveness. All right, so the way you would fill this form out is you would include your name, address, business EIN number, and phone number, email, and contact information. One thing you want to be careful about here is that check to see who received the loan, whether if it was you and your social, or was it your business and the EIN number. So this is very important. You want to match this up with what the SBA and the lender has on their record. This section here is again the PPP loan number and the lender loan number. You could get this from the portal, or you could get it from your closing documents. Let's say the PPP loan amount is 20,800 and the loan was received on June 5th. In this section, you would indicate employees at the time of loan application. In your case, it would be 0 because you don't have any employees. Here, it would be the loan advance that you received. You probably received 1,000 if you're self-employed. And in this case, section, you would enter the loan application number. Again, the EIDL loan advance is something that the SBA already has on record, most likely, or they could pull it up through your application number. Fill this application out correctly. You do not want to make any mistakes or you want to put any false information. Also here, this is your payroll schedule. In your case, it does not apply. It would be other because you're self-employed. The covered period would be if you received the loan prior to June 5th, it's the 8-week period or the 24 weeks, however way you want to go, because in your case, it would not matter because you're self-employed or a contractor. So if you applied for the loan after June 5th, use 24 weeks calculation, and if you applied for it prior to June 5th, use the 8-week calculation. The next section is the alternative payroll covered period. In this section, this does not apply to you, but just so you know, alternative covered period basically means that, let's say your payroll PPP loan money came in on a Wednesday, but your pay cycle begins on the following Monday, and you opted to use the following pay cycle as your covered period. That would be your alternative payroll covered period. This applies more towards businesses that has employees. So in your case, it wouldn't apply. Then we go to the payroll and non-payroll costs. So line 1, payroll cost would be the loan, PPP loan that you received. Again, keep in mind the PPP loan that you received is actually based on your Schedule C. So that is the compensation that you would have gotten. Then line 2, 3, and 4, which is business mortgage interest payment, rent or lease, and business utility payments. All of these are 0. This does not apply to you, and it wouldn't matter in your calculation. You would add all of these numbers up. So in your case, it would be the same number because the rest of the numbers are 0. So it's 2832. Then you enter your line 6, which is your PPP loan amount. The PPP loan amount you would get from whatever the loan was, which should be the same thing, which is 2832. Then line 7, it requires you to do some math. It tells you to divide line 1, which is your payroll cost, by 60%, which will give you, in our calculation, 34,000. Then line 8 is your loan forgiveness amount. This is the $1 million question that everybody you would want to know. You'd want to know. So in your case, it would be the smaller of line 5, 6, and 7. So 5, 6, and 7, the lower amount is 2832. Then you enter 2832. So now you compare this number to your loan amount, you will see that this number is the same, and it should be the same if you are Schedule C and if you're a contractor and self-employed, because in your case the whole amount would be forgivable. Only time it wouldn't be forgivable is if you apply for the loan and you calculate the loan application incorrectly, where the Schedule C number was not what was filed with the return. In any case, that's a whole different conversation. So this is the 3508Z EZ that you should be using, and the following page tells you to certify, and you will see that self-certification basically says that your Schedule C that you provided to your lender is actually the Schedule C that you filed with the tax return, and you have it's basically self-certifying to make sure that you are not lying about anything. So do all the certification and sign, date, and include your title. And the following page again is for informational purposes. You don't need to disclose that information. It's totally up to your discretion. So with that being said, this was a small, quick review of PPP loan forgiveness form. If you apply through a bank, check and see if you are eligible for the loan forgiveness. If you applied it through a fintech company, most likely they are going to send you an email. All of these companies are going to send you an email once you become eligible for the loan forgiveness. A lot of these banks are not doing the loan application, the loan forgiveness processing soon, because for whatever reason they have delayed it because of the ever-changing rules, because a lot of the rules are changing as far as the loan forgiveness forms are concerned. As you can see, a new form came out to simplify the method. So this is why the banks have been waiting before they started processing this application. So anyways, with all that being said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact us. If you like our video, please give us your feedback, and try to follow us on all of our social media. Thank you guys. Take care and stay safe.